What if a religion wasn't born in temples, but in struggle? Rastafari is not just a religion, it's a movement, a mindset, and for many, a way of life. It began in the 1930s in Jamaica during a time of deep poverty, colonial rule, and racial oppression. But unlike traditional religions built around ancient scriptures, Rastafari grew from a powerful idea: freedom of identity, spiritual awakening, and resistance against oppression. At the center of this movement stands a figure both historical and mystical, Haile Selassie I, the emperor who became divine. When Haile Selassie I was crowned Emperor of Ethiopia in 1930, he was given powerful titles that carried deep symbolic meaning. Titles like King of Kings and Conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah were not seen as ordinary royal honors by many in Jamaica. Instead, they were interpreted as the fulfillment of ancient prophecy, something long awaited rather than newly declared. Rastafari followers came to believe that Selassie was the living God, known as Jah, or at least a divine representative sent to guide humanity. However, the mystery becomes more complex because Selassie himself never openly claimed to be God. He maintained a more traditional role as a political and spiritual leader, which creates a powerful contradiction at the heart of Rastafari belief. This tension is exactly what makes the movement so fascinating. Some followers interpret his divinity symbolically, seeing him as a representation of Black empowerment, dignity, and spiritual awakening after centuries of oppression. Others believe it is literal, that Jah revealed himself in human form through Selassie. And in that gap between history and belief, certainty fades and mystery begins. Zion versus Babylon, the hidden war. Rastafari is built on a powerful dual concept that shapes its entire worldview: Zion and Babylon. Zion represents spiritual freedom, truth, and the Promised Land, often associated with Ethiopia and Africa as a whole, a place of return, identity, and liberation. Babylon, on the other hand, represents oppression, corruption, and the systems of Western society that disconnect people from their roots, their purpose, and their spirituality. But this idea goes far beyond geography. Babylon is not just a place, it is a condition. It exists in systems, institutions, and even everyday habits that pull people away from truth. It can be found in governments, media, materialism, and even the way people think about success and identity. This creates a deeper philosophical tension at the core of Rastafari belief. Is Babylon something imposed from the outside, or something that grows within the human mind? Rastafari teachings suggest it is both, and that means the real battle between Zion and Babylon is not just happening in the world around you, it is happening within you. The power of I and I. One of the most unique and powerful concepts in Rastafari is the idea of I and I. Instead of separating individuals with words like you and me, this phrase reflects unity between all people and between humanity and Jah. It expresses the belief that God exists within every individual and that all humans are connected through this shared divine presence. This way of thinking challenges the illusion of separation and promotes a deeper sense of equality and unity. It is more than language, it is a philosophy that reshapes how people see themselves and others. It also raises a deeper philosophical question about existence itself. If the divine exists within everyone, then where does individuality truly end and unity begin? Dreadlocks. Symbol or spiritual code. Dreadlocks are one of the most recognizable aspects of Rastafari, but they carry meaning far beyond appearance. They are not simply a hairstyle or a fashion choice. Within Rastafari, dreadlocks symbolize a commitment to natural living, spiritual discipline, and a rejection of imposed Western beauty standards that often pressure people to reshape their natural identity. By allowing the hair to grow freely, many Rastafari followers express a deeper belief in living as Jah intended, without artificial alteration. They are also connected to biblical traditions, particularly the Nazarites, who were described as allowing their hair to grow naturally as a sign of devotion, separation, and spiritual dedication. This gives dreadlocks both a religious and symbolic foundation. But beyond these meanings, there is also a more mystical interpretation within the Rastafari community. Some believe dreadlocks function almost like spiritual antennas, connecting individuals to higher levels of awareness, wisdom, and energy. While science does not support this idea, the symbolism remains powerful. In the end, dreadlocks represent more than identity, they reflect resistance, spirituality, and a visible bond between the outer self and inner belief. The sacred herb, misunderstood or misinterpreted. The use of cannabis, often called ganja, is one of the most misunderstood aspects of Rastafari. To outsiders, it may appear purely recreational, something associated only with smoking or relaxation. But within Rastafari, ganja holds a much deeper and more sacred role. It is often used during reasoning sessions, meditation, and spiritual gatherings as a way to clear the mind, deepen connection with Jah, and open the heart to truth, reflection, and understanding. This practice is not entirely unique to Rastafari, since many ancient cultures also used plants in spiritual or ceremonial ways. What makes Rastafari distinctive is the meaning placed behind it. Ganja is not viewed simply as a substance, but as a spiritual aid when used with the right mindset and purpose. That is what makes it so controversial and so mysterious. Is the power found in the plant itself, or does it come from the faith, intention, and state of mind that surround its use? That question continues to shape the debate around Rastafari practices and adds another layer of spiritual mystery to the movement. Nyabinghi, the sound of resistance. Nyabinghi represents the spiritual and cultural heartbeat of Rastafari. It is a ceremonial gathering centered around rhythmic drumming, chanting, and collective spiritual expression. The repetitive beats create a powerful atmosphere that many describe as deeply meditative or even transformative. For some, Nyabinghi connects participants to higher states of consciousness, while others believe it carries ancestral energy from Africa, preserving a sense of history, resistance, and identity. It is more than music, it is a living expression of memory and spiritual continuity that links the past with the present. Ital living, a natural code of life. Rastafari promotes a lifestyle known as ital, derived from the word vital. This approach to living emphasizes natural, unprocessed foods and often includes a vegetarian or vegan diet. It also encourages avoiding chemicals and artificial substances in everyday life. However, ital is not just about diet, it represents a broader philosophy of purity and alignment with nature. It reflects the belief that living naturally brings individuals closer to spiritual truth. This idea raises a deeper reflection about modern life. If contemporary lifestyles disconnect people from nature, then returning to natural living may not just be a health choice, but a form of spiritual awakening. The mystery of repatriation. Repatriation is one of the central beliefs in Rastafari, referring to the return of African descendants to Africa, particularly Ethiopia. However, this concept is not always interpreted literally. For many followers, repatriation is a spiritual journey rather than a physical one. It represents a return to identity, culture, and truth. This dual meaning creates an important question within the belief system. Is Zion a physical place that one must travel to, or is it a state of consciousness that one awakens into? The answer varies among followers, adding to the depth and mystery of Rastafari philosophy, a religion without walls. Unlike many traditional religions, Rastafari does not have a central authority, a single holy book, or a rigid structure. Instead, it evolves through personal experience, interpretation, and individual connection with Jah. This lack of formal structure gives followers freedom to explore spirituality in their own way, making the religion deeply personal. However, it also introduces a level of mystery, because without fixed rules, truth becomes subjective. And when truth becomes subjective, it expands into something infinite, shaped by each individual's understanding and experience. More than a religion. Rastafari is more than a system of belief, it is a way of seeing the world. It challenges ideas about identity, power, society, and spirituality. It encourages individuals to question what they have been taught and to search for deeper meaning. Perhaps its greatest mystery is not found in its teachings, but in the questions it inspires. Because in the end, Rastafari is not just about what you believe, it is about how deeply you are willing to think. If this made you think differently, then you're already ahead of most people. The real mystery isn't just Rastafari, it's how much truth you've been missing. If you want more content like this, like and subscribe.